All right, friends, we're about to get started. I'm just gonna put the live on the TikTok and let's switch our sources. How about that? All right, cool. I don't even know what angle I want. I gotta get this thing close to both cameras so I can at least look at y'all. All right, this is the best we got. We're going live. Cool. Where are we? So about, I don't know, 3 hours ago, we started to work more on this CLI, and we got really far, which is cool. I actually did a little bit offline. I didn't do much, so it's just a lot of code cleanup and like null checks and that type of stuff. I also kind of got everything ready for tonight too. So like, I'll show you what I did. So now that we try to score a package, I have everything laid out so that anything that we are going to be adding tonight, we're going to be able to see it as actual data. So the things that you see right now, like has valid new spec, provides a valid release notes, those things are actually coming directly from our validation. So we need to add a little bit of code around those two, and it really just in a lot of our rules. And we just need to start building out the functionality and features. So we have a little bit more that we kind of want to do here, because like some of these things we want to like really try to have them fail as much as we can. It's gonna be hard because like having a valid new spec for the most part is like something you're going to have, but we got to add more rules. So what I was going to do, score service, and this new score service, what this will do is that I'll score a package based off of all of the package contents I created, and I'll throw in what is that score report. So everything that's coming into this CLI is now this object of our score. And I realized it actually took me a while to remember this, but I forgot that Visual Studio does not like the same solution name, or sorry, the same project name as object names. So that's why we had to case things as models.score. And I was kind of looking at it offline, and I was like, it seems like a very straightforward thing. But then I realized that my project was actually named score. So the actual assembly is going to conflict. So I thought that was really interesting. The other thing I found out offline too was there is a hook into the console app. So I redid the console app here and did the same thing. And now I can just run and debug straight to the console. So like I can debug here, and inside of my debug, I can look at my console, for example, and then if I run it all the way through, you know, I get breakpoints and I also get that same output. So we're in good shape. Originally, I thought it was going to be a little bit harder, but this tends to work just okay. So now I can just hook into everything into a console app instead of my main tool app, which is my dotnet score CLI tool. So we have a path forward. It's just that we got to remember that when we're done with all this stuff, we put it in two places and that kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's a lot better than anything we had. Let's see. Test with taglib sharp, which isn't likely done correctly. I don't even know what is that. Let's see. Oh, this is cool. So taglib sharp, reading and writing metadata, huh? I'm not sure how I'll use this yet, but I will keep it in mind. I'll keep it in the background. So what I am thinking of doing now is that now that we have this our score service, I need to kind of start to create these score sections. I only have a couple of them done, like I showed earlier. Everything else is just kind of a small, you know, it's there. It's ready to kind of work on. So this one is the one I'm working on right now, which is follows NuGet conventions async. And what I'm doing right here is I'm creating that NuGet service. I'm going out and saying, hey, get me the valid NuSpec score section. And I kind of want to refactor these to be a little bit more organized, but we can do that all later. I'm just going to put everything in this service for now. But what this will do is if we go into this one, so Control B, I don't even know what the shortcuts are in Writer. We'll go and we'll create this new validator. And this validator is basically everything that we're doing with regards to the NuSpec. So it creates this validator and it'll go through all these rules. So the video keeps cutting out. Oh, hopefully not. It should be good on my end. I don't think I'm dropping frames. Let's see. Yeah, I haven't dropped any frames yet. I've dropped about 2%, so it should be solid, but let me know. Let me know if it keeps doing it. So it goes through all these different rules. So it'll grab the description, it'll grab the icon and say add an icon, all that type of stuff. And so what I'm gonna do is I want to try to get these icon failures to work. So I'm gonna grab some arbitrary package online and see how far I get with it. So inside of here, I want to then add a score for it. So the NuSpec validator is going to have a lot of components to it because NuSpecs are very large. So we're going to kind of start to break this down into a lot of different sections. But for now, we know we need a validator, we know we need results, but we need to start to score the NuSpec versus the results. So the one thing I just want to start doing really quick is I'm just going to go to like NuGet. I'm going to just type in something random like page or something. And I'm going to grab this one because I think this one does not have an icon. This is the default icon. So if I look at like the package and I open that package up, I see that there's no icon.png or any type of icon here. And then over here, I'm going to be looking for a icon element. I don't see one. So in here, I don't see anything. So I can use this. So 1.1.1, and I want to try that out on my test app really quick. So inside here, what we'll do is, because it's a console app with a specific package, we're gonna have to switch that out really quick. So 1.1.1, and then we're gonna debug that. So now that we jump in, we're just gonna see if our validations are kicking in, and then also just making sure that that whole thing is working. So results kick in, and it worked. So we have an error, add an icon for your package. So what I wanted to do here is that I need to start creating a section with every result in it. So this is going to be a for each loop here. I'm going to say var summary in results dot errors, I think is going to be what we're going to try to do here. Let's actually just stop this because we don't need it. So inside of this, I'm going to have to say, I'm going to need to create a new summary object. So I think summary is our model, and we'll just call it like summaries. And then we're going to say it's a new list. I had to double check. Is summary a, we'll look back at our models because I don't remember what I put it in some random, yeah, just right here. So we need a list of summaries is what we need here. So going back here, var summary in there, we're going to we're going to go through each one and we're going to add to this list. So I'm just going to start with this and we're just going to call it like summaries for now. Create that new list. And inside here, we're going to kind of create a new summary object. So we'll say summary equals new summary. And then inside here, the issue is going to be, we're going to have to figure that one out. Summary dot, so why is this? Oh, I have double. Var failure in failures is fine. So we'll say failure dot, and then this is the hard one. I think it's going to be on property name because that's the name of the failure that we're thinking out, I think. And then it's going to be resolution is going to be failure dot the code. I think it's in the message actually. Is it in the message or code? I'm gonna have to double check because I don't really remember fully. I'll have to look. So let's go back. Let's go to our validation and look at this. So the message is add an icon, and then so that's going to be the resolution. So I need a way to I guess, is there a way with like Fluent validation that I can add a custom message or something? Because I'm creating these rules and they have these messages. Is there like a custom? So there's a custom validation rule, but I want like just like a name I can add or something. If anyone knows, well, we might have to look at some docs. What about with the name? Specifies that. Yeah, so with name, and we would call this one, add more detail to the description. What did I call it in my little sample? I'll have to double check. In my notebook, I just said provide valid new spec. I think that should be covered, but this one's going to go a little bit further because it's going to be its own little thing. So let's just try something like description is too short. We'll try that for now, and we'll do a couple of them too. We'll add like with name on a few of these, and we'll say icon is missing. I mean, we're doing a lot of this stuff, just kind of always time to refactor these things. And then add more tags. So we'll just say with name, missing tags. Again, we're gonna have to standardize on something eventually. So now that we have this name with name, I'm gonna go back to the service here, and I don't know if it's property name or if I just call it name. I don't know. The name of the property. I'm gonna guess it might be that. So we're just gonna have to debug it as we go along. Let's see. It might be worth pulling those strings out. Yeah, I was definitely going to be pulling them out. I'm going to eventually like refactor a lot of the strings, like creating a resx file or something, and just kind of coding everything. But right now I'm just kind of doing everything mostly by hand, and then I'm going to refactor everything once I get into all validation, because I kind of have some objects that are floating with strings, but they're eventually all going to be in the validation side. And then I also have the string dump, where is it? My string dumper here, which I'm also going to need to take these things out too. Ideally, if I had no strings, that'd be awesome. So now that we created a summary, we're going to need to add that summary at the end here. So we'll say summaries.add, and then we'll add that summary in. So now we have that. Now for the score section. The score section now will need the summaries. So it's gonna be interesting. I don't know if we'll need a null check, but we will try if we do. I don't think so, because it should already be null, and if I even passed a null, it shouldn't matter, right? So now that we are returning this score section, the score is fine to leave as is, but we'll just go and debug it. Let's see, there's a link. Let's see what that is. Oh, and it won't let me copy it from Twitch. What is it? NetFX system string. What I actually wanted to use is Humanizer. I was hoping that I could use Humanizer in that same way. It's a cool library. I've used it in my lawn care app, but this is kind of cool because you can like humanize certain strings. It was just kind of a interesting thing. But I thought it'd be a good way to kind of format and all that type of stuff. But I'd have to double check. Maybe this is over. It just has so many cool helper functions. Okay, so let's go back here. So now that we jump into our validation, we should see that we have to add a icon. So the one thing I want to see is that if I go into the errors, I want to make sure that that has a property name. So icon is missing. So that does work. That's cool. So what we're doing will work really well. So actually, I just want to see if I can run through everything and if it will work just fine. So now I create this table and I'm hoping we'll see something cool. So yeah, that thing worked really well. That's exactly what I wanted. Has valid new spec, icon is missing, add an icon for your package. Pretty straightforward, right? So this is just kind of telling us like what the issue is. This is telling us how to resolve it. I mean, there is a question here of, I guess like, do I need to go that far down for each of these? I'm kind of thinking yes. And the reason why is because like, I wanna make this a very straightforward thing where it's like, the actual element is missing, right? And then this one I want to have as the best practice guidance. So it wouldn't be necessarily like add an icon for your package. I just kind of put that in there. But what I'm thinking is let's actually do this. NuGet, new spec, definition. We have some docs here. So what I'm thinking is that, oh, that was weird. Why was that highlighted? That is weird. Why did I get that this long URL? It's gonna do it again, huh? That is weird. Okay. Anyway, so general form and schema. So I want to look at these items and go through each one of them. And we're gonna do this kind of together tonight. We're gonna try to get all the new spec stuff done. I think that'd be really cool. There's a lot of things I'm not gonna be able to do, like the references and dependencies and all that type of stuff, but we're gonna do all the general stuff. That should be fairly straightforward. So, I want to look at icon because there's two icons and one of them is deprecated. So icon URL, for example, is deprecated. So what I want to say in my project is when I go to the new spec validator here, that's why I have this kind of when clause. So I say when the dot icon is not null, do this rule, which is grab the icon and say add for an icon is missing. So the one thing I'm going to do first is I'm going to put the name in front. I just read better that way. And I think we need to go the kind of top down approach. So we'll do that. I mean, we also might want to change some of the well, maybe the rules stay as is. I'm okay with that. So I'm just going to kind of refactor a little bit of this because I think it looks nicer this way. And then humanizer is really cool, but two things. Yeah, I need to find something a little bit. I want to use as many built-in tools. I'll show you what I'm using for my dependencies right now. It's just like everything's really built in. So here's what I use. Spectre console is for the CLI and everything that you see in here, right? I don't know what, I must have right-clicked on accident. NuGet frameworks is what I'll be using for doing all the TFM stuff. So target framework monikers. That will basically do the half of the support multiple platforms and support up-to-date dependencies. I use NuGet packaging to download the package, so that's already done. I use NuGet protocol to do the metadata and grab all the metadata. I use NuGet versioning to get the specific version, so the semantic version of the package, so it's really easy to parse through all the tooling. And then I use NuGet or Fluent validation for all these rules. So that's kind of what I have right now. Let's see. So Windows Terminal, PowerShell, and Unicode. Displaying. Does this thing work? See, I heard about this. That's what I tried with Windows Terminal. I was trying a TrueType font. I just could not get it to work. Yeah, I'll have to kind of look around. Okay, so let's dive in a little bit more. Okay, so we're on icon right now. So we're not going to say like icon is missing. We're going to say specifically, let's go back to here. We're going to say icon is missing. So we'll say icon is missing. And then we're going to say, let's see, oops. How do I want to put this? We'll just put this. So include a path to an image file within your package. So we'll just take something like this and use it as an example. So I need to click on writer. Add an icon to your new spec. Actually, no, it's to your package. Actually, how do I want to do this? No, it's add an icon to your package and reference it within an icon tag. Something like that. For now. Okay, it's like we're just going to say like we want this one to really work. We don't want people to use it. We'll just say icon URL is deprecated. Use icon instead. And then same thing. We'll just copy this and then we'll paste that in. So I need to find a package that is using icon URL, and that might be a little bit difficult, so we'll see. But let's run this and see what happens. So what was the library again? Oh, I don't remember. I think it's in our code somewhere. So this thing, 1.1.1 is what it is. So let's do that, and then 1.1.1. So yeah, that worked pretty well. This one actually uses icon URL apparently, or maybe we have our logic backwards. We're gonna have to flip it. I had to look at it though. So does this one have an icon URL? It does not. So the cases are going to be backwards, I think. So let's go back to the validator and look at our logic. When this does not equal null, rule for this. Otherwise, so we can just flip. We can either flip it or whatever. So when icon is null, that's what we want to do. So we'll flip it, see if that works. Yep. Cool. Let's see. So the string resources is built in resix for translation, but gives you string type in strings instead. Oh, that's pretty cool. System reactive 5 has an icon. Tag lib sharp 2.2 does not. So let's try it against tag lib sharp. Now that we kind of have it. So this thing is tag lib sharp 2.2.0. We should get that same validation. Oh, and it also is missing tags. Sweet. So those two things work. Let's actually look. So let's look and see what this has, because it doesn't seem to have any tags, does it? Tisk 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 tisk. Well, we're validating your package for you. How about that? Yeah, I don't think there's any tags in this one. So it's also, look, I think your description's long enough. Because I do. Hey, how's it going, everyone on TikTok? We're over at Twitch. So if you want to follow along and see what we're working on, go to twitch.tv/JohnDouglasDev. Yeah, so your description is long enough. I think that's easily 60 characters. And you also have release notes, and that's the next part I wanted to work on. So I'm actually going to use your package as a good example here. So release notes were actually a separate validator for, I got to figure out how I want to code this, because I have different score sections. So I'm going to walk you through my logic here. But I have these score sections, and the score sections are based off of the rule above it. So get valid new spec is one score section. The next score section that I'm working on is get valid readme, or sorry, release notes. So that's the one that I want to work on next with your example. So I'm going to more or less copy a lot of this code, and we're going to make a new validator and all that jazz. So we'll start with this. The one thing is that this is kind of hard coded right now, and I don't like it, but I don't really have a better alternative. So the next one is provide valid release notes. Maybe I'll just lowercase everything. Okay. So current score doesn't really matter here. We'll just leave it as is. So we now need a new validator. So the validator is going to be new class, and we'll call it read, or sorry, not readme. We don't have readmes yet. Release notes validator, and this one's going to be a really small one. And I do want to add that to Git, so please don't ask me again. So we're just going to add probably one rule. let's grab this rule here. I'll actually copy the whole class because it's going to be easier to kind of combine. So this one's just going to be called the release notes validator. And then I wish Ryder like popped that thing up quicker because it takes me like 3 times. Let's see. Sorry, is a bad maintainer. Hey, I have one NuGet package posted ever, and I am the PM of NuGet, so it goes to show you, right? I definitely work on a lot of things. I just never publish things, but I think it's kind of funny. All right, so in the new spec reader, we're going to grab your release notes. Okay, and then for your release notes, I don't really know what is a good way to validate release notes, because release notes are, they're kind of small, right? They're just kind of like a few blurbs. So I just kind of want to say, like, do you have them? Like, that's okay with me. And let's go see what we say about release notes, because this changes often. I don't even think, yeah. So basically it's limited to 35,000 characters. So yeah, I'm going to stay with, I don't know what would be too much. What am I doing? So we're building a command line to kind of validate a package ecosystem. So this one is going to be release notes. What kind of rule do we want here? Do I even want to have a length rule here? Could I just say like 0 to 35,000, whatever it might be? Too many zeros. Release notes. Too long. Or actually, release notes. Well, it's not even a length thing. I just want to say that you have them or not. So like, let's just not do a length thing. I'll just say dot release notes. I thought I did something else in the new spec one before. Not empty is what I was looking for. Not empty. Okay, and then we'll say, we'll grab the release notes field. And what we'll say here, we'll say, so I also need to update this one. I kind of forgot about that one. Description is too short. I think we also need a rule for description. I don't want to get too distracted, but we'll come back. So we'll just say release notes is empty. And then we'll just say with message, add a release notes element to your new spec. Something like that. So I wanted to go back here because I want to make sure that description, I don't know. I forget. We have a required list. Yeah, I think this is required. Maybe. Let me see. NuGet best practice author. We wrote this recently too, which should have all of them. So description. This doesn't tell us either, huh? I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure it's like 2 things. I think it's like ID and version. That's why I'm writing this tool in the first place. So, yeah, that's fine. We'll grab this one again. We'll make a second rule for it. And then we're just gonna say not empty here. I'm hoping that length also, but we'll see. Description is missing. And then we're just gonna say add a, we don't wanna say just like to your new spec, because I know long-term this is gonna change, but the reason why we don't is because you can do all this stuff through MS Build. And what that really means is that you just have these property groups, right? So if I go to this project, for example, and I want to create a package based off of it, these are all the things that I can do inside of my actual project file. I don't have to, like, I'll generate a new spec for it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So you might notice that some of these things are already pre-filled for me, like ID and version, authors, description, that type of stuff. So we're going to have required ones, we're going to have optional ones, and we just kind of have to go through everything slowly, just to kind of get everything out. But there's a lot to go through, so we're going to have to be creating a lot of rules here. All right, so now I have this release notes validator. So add release notes element, tier, new spec, and I'll switch this later, but it should be okay. So let's test it against the descriptors project. So tag lib sharp, and try it out. So something here is pulling in the same stuff. So I gotta look at that. Provide valid readme. So I think it's because I copy and pasted everything. It's this one. So we want to call this the release note validator. And then make sure that everything goes through. I think it should. So let's try it again. There we go. So provide valid release notes didn't quite get hit. So let's see why. So rule for the reader, grab the release notes, say not empty. So we'll have to, I think I did something wrong. Release notes, validator that validate async. We throw that in. We create the summary. Okay, so I want to see if I get down to here. Sorry, down here is fine. So let's try to debug it. Wait 1 second. No, he has release notes, so it's not going to work for his. We're doing tag lib sharp. We wanted to do it with a different one. That's what, this one has release notes. They're right here. So we're gonna find a package that does not have release notes. Let's just try to find one. Let's just go like, we're gonna have to find probably an unpopular package. Might be a little bit hard. Let's just type in like list or page or something. Those usually have. So maybe this one. Yeah, I don't see any release notes in here. So we'll grab this one and then 3.0. So same thing. And then we're gonna pass in that 3.0. That should work. So yeah. So has a valid new spec. We say the icon is missing. Add an icon to your package and reference it within an icon tag. Missing tags. So I want to say that I need to I need to add better consistency with these things. Missing tags, that's just not a good good, so we'll say tags is missing. Add more tags. Add tags to the tags element. Yeah. Something like this. All right. So let's try it again. Yeah, that looks a lot better. The one thing about this tool is that the required pieces don't actually need validated, right? Because they're required. I wouldn't even be able to have this package. This tool should happen after everything that has been required. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, let's go through the whole list. We did the release notes. We're going to need to have. So one thing I'm going to do is in this validation, I'm going to create an empty folder here, and I'm going to call this one NuGet conventions or something. Yeah, that should be okay. And then the new spec validator will go in there. And then the release notes will also. And then the README validator, this one was apparently the release notes at some point. I'm deleting it because I don't have any reason for it right now. So we'll add some more validators later, but let's just keep going with the new spec one. Cool. So what other things could we add? Let's see. Let's go back to the general form here. I kind of want to see all of these. These are the ones probably the best table to do all this. So the ID is definitely going to be there. The version is going to be there. Authors, I think, is required. I'm pretty sure it is. But maybe not. I don't remember. Like let's see what it is. I think it's Visual. Let's just like go to Visual Studio. We'll file new, create a project or something. And we'll just create a core library. It's taking forever to load. Okay. And then we're just gonna pack this, and then we'll see what comes out of it. So I pack it, and that failed. Or did it fail? No, it just loaded way too quick. So now that I have a brand new package for the most part, that was in my OBJ folder. Did it create? Oh, maybe I went too fast. Try it again. All right, pack. That's working. Okay. So now that I can go back, it should be right here. So inside of this package, let's see what it is. It definitely has all those pieces. Okay. So we don't need Visual Studio anymore. Let's go back over. So what we don't need to do is all these. I mean, some of them we're going to want better ones, like owners, for example, is empty. Authors is usually picked. So like owners will be a good one. Let's do owners. So let's just make sure that owners is not empty. It's the same idea here. We're gonna say get owners empty with name and say owners missing. Add add owners to your project or something, right? So I know I can't necessarily test this one because I am downloading packages. We're gonna eventually probably want some way to like, I guess like just grab the new package from a local disk, but I don't care about that right now. We're caring about the other side of things. So let's look for a package that owners is not there. Let's see. So if I were to like download this package and look, we're going to have something that has owners in it. Like every package should have owners. Which one is the best practice though? I really don't know. See, like authors is the one that shows here. So we're gonna have to write some more docs on this. Okay. Copyright. I don't think I've seen like any packages with copyright, do I? So copyright's right here. So let's add a rule. Same idea. We're gonna have to organize these eventually. Get copyright. All right. What other ones? Licensing expression. So this one seems to like be a default, right? So, or that's requires license So what does this look like? Excuse me. Do not use license URL. So we want to include a license file. So let's do some rules around that then. What did we have? Like a license? The method will not fail if it sees values that are invalid. Okay. So we'll just want to make sure that the license metadata is not empty. And then we'll just say, is it a license tag? I don't think it is. It's an actual file. So this one might be tricky. We'll just say like license is missing, add a license to your package or something. I don't want to dive too much into this, but what is this? They have a string license and they also have an expression. Okay. So I'm gonna use the lib sharp example again, or maybe this one. This one doesn't have a license, I don't think. Or does it? This one has MIT, but it does not have a license file. It has a license URL, and we want to tell people who use a license URL that that's deprecated or old or whatever. So let's try to add that as well. So I'm gonna have to do like another one of these when statement type deals. So I'll do this and then I'll kind of add the license stuff in there. So when I say When I say get license metadata equals null, I want to throw this one up here. And then that one's going to be the one I want to use, which is this one. The otherwise rule here is going to be the same thing for the most part, but we're going to say get license URL. As long as that's not empty, we'll just say license URL is deprecated. Let's try that. So I don't know what this is going to look like, but let's try it on a couple of these. So this one had the license URL. So license is missing, add a license to your project. So that's the hard one, is that when, is there like an or? I mean, otherwise it's just if it fails. I'm just trying to think of how to do that. So if I say that the license metadata is null, then it's going to check the metadata and tell you that. But if you had the license URL there, we still want to say that it's deprecated, right? So that would mean that this rule it actually is a double rule. Maybe that's just me, but that's how I see it. It has to be, it's not a when, it's not a when, it's a, it has to be there. I think deprecated rules have to be that. I don't think they can be, I think the icon one is fine, right? Because if you don't have the icon, but no, the icon one is the same thing. We don't need it as a otherwise, we just need to show it. Maybe other people have some thoughts. I don't think we need it. I think we can do this like that. That way we're going to see a lot more, right? Like icon's missing. Icon URL is deprecated. It's hard. I want to throw only one. I only want to throw one if I can, but the question is like, is it harmful to have an icon URL in here? I don't think it's like harmful. I just, yeah, I don't have a good answer. I don't really know. We could always play with it later. Excuse me. All right, so the next one, I think package version would be an interesting one, but there's not really a good way to do this one. So we do a license already, project URL. Let's do that one. Okay, let's just do this. And we'll say get project URL, say not empty, and we'll say project URL is missing. Okay. Next one, icon file, we already did that. Repository URL and repository type. So as I do both of these, get repository metadata. As long as that's not empty. I mean, whoa, we have a lot of information on this. I didn't even think we did. Really? Well, the one thing we care about is the URL not being empty, and we'll say repository URL is missing. Add a repository URL to your package. I think it's repository URL. What is it? Project. Maybe there's another one. Project URL, repository. So repository is a little bit different. So the URL would still be that. So we'd have to say repository element instead. So repository is missing. I don't know if this works, but not empty. Maybe it will. So add a repository to your package. So what package didn't have that was this one. Yeah, so let's do paged MVC or whatever. And we'll try it out. So that one's right there. So that one would say, I don't see that. So maybe it has to be the URL. Can't be empty. That's what I want to guess. I don't actually know. This one should fail though. It's not. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. Does this one have a repository? I don't see one. Yeah, I don't. Page list. So, what does that mean? So repository like metadata dot. If it's a string, right? It's coming back as something. But this one's just coming back as the object. And I mean, we can say not null instead. And that should fix it, I think. No, not quite. So I'm wondering what this is. Maybe it's not coming back as null, but we gotta read what it said earlier. So the type, really it was the URL I care about, and I just want that thing to not be empty. But dot get source control repository information. Is there more on this? Let's see. I think it's right there. optional. For linking to the project page, use the project URL instead. So this one seems really strange. I don't know why it wouldn't work as it should. As long as this is not empty. And I don't, is it dot value or something? Get hash code, no. I would expect this one to be throwing on this example, but maybe I'm just looking at something wrong. Do they have a repository URL? Or a repository? I don't see one. I see a project though. Let's see. It's like taglib sharp has one. Let's try something else. 2.2. Yeah, that one's not gonna yell too much. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, this one has a repository. This one does not though. Are there any other packages? Like, it's weird because this one says it does. So am I looking at a different package? Page list core. Pagelist.core.mpc. But it has one. So all I know is I don't understand why. So let's move on to one that doesn't. That one has one. This one does not, I don't think. Let's see. So maybe project URL allows you to not. Let's try it. Image list view 13.8.2. So that one just says release notes and icon. So I guess we really just need to check both. We gotta check both project URL and we gotta check repository, right? So we already have both, so it should be okay. I want to find a package that doesn't have either. That'd be cool. Is it required? Is project URL even required? I thought we had that package that, yeah, like this one does not have that, so it's not required. So let's keep looking. Let's look for another. Here, how about this one? List diff. Has a project site, looks like. Yeah, so let's find something else. Low downloads if possible. Nope. This one? Nope. How about this one? Nope, this one has both. has license info and a project site. We need something way smaller. This one has project site as well. Source repo. I'm trying to find a really old package, so this is going to be a hard one. It's like this one even has a project site too. Maybe it's just like the metadata on the server side. Yeah, no, it has it. I don't think we're going to find one. We'll keep looking, but... Oh, maybe this one? I don't think so, though. I don't think we're going to find one. So maybe it is... Oh, here's one. Right here. Okay. Let's see if this one doesn't have either. Just so we can try. Alright. We're going to use this one. Page list for... Oh. So, try this again. 4.0. There we go. So, project URL is missing. Still, the repository doesn't really seem to care. So that rule needs fixed somewhere. Maybe this method just doesn't do what I think it does. What was it? Get repository metadata? I don't know. I just thought it would. I just thought it would work, but I don't know. I mean, it's probably not going to be empty, but it seems broken to me. I don't know. I'll look into it later. All right, so what's the next one that we want to do? So we had that, 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 and we did that. So we almost did them all. I think we did them all. I mean, there's going to be a lot more, potentially, but I think we did all of them that are kind of there. It's like the required ones. We did description, but purely for how long it should be. The versioning one, we might want to see if we can do like a semver pattern. It's hard though, because like you have to do that technically. There's just not a... I mean, maybe we do this though, the 64 characters. So let's do that. I don't think anything is ever going to hit it, but it is probably worth it. So we'll do get version, and then we'll say, what did I say? Length. Length. And then we wanted this like 0 to 64, I think was what it was. Yeah. 0. So what am I missing? Cannot be int. Oh. Get version. Oh. Dot. Can I just say this? Non-normalized string. I want to say I can do that, but I don't know. Version. System.version. Without metadata or release labels. What am I going to need here then? Release? What's that? The full pre-release label? No, I don't want that. Don't care about that. I'm going to go with the original version. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that one. Returns the original non-normalized version of the string. Maybe. We'll try it out. Okay. So, let's try this one just for fun. And cool. A lot of stuff is working. So we're going to need to add scores to these things soon. So, I don't know how to do this one yet, but like a valid new spec is going to be out of 10 points. Honestly, what I'm kind of thinking is I'm just going to count these, and if they add up all the way to 10, then I'm going to just take those points away. So we're just going to say if there's any issues, we're just going to do the count, and then that's going to be the score. What am I programming or editing? I'm on twitch.tv/JohnDouglasDev, and we're building a command line interface for scoring packages. So packages that you might use in like a project. So let's see how I can do this new spec thing. The NuGet service, I think, is where we want to be. So get valid new spec section, results here, and then the current score is going to be results dot errors dot count. I want to see what that looks like. Probably going to be really bad. Max score is going to be a hard-coded value for now, but we got to make sure that this doesn't go above 10. Because that's the hard part, is we don't want people to get scored negatively. We want it to be upwards of 10. So it's going to be we'll leave it as that for now. We'll come back to it later because it's not like a huge deal. We just want to make sure it works. So their score is 8 out of 10. So it's actually going to be, we need to do this opposite. So we'd say 10 minus the count. 10, or sorry, we're going to say max score minus, is there a way to do that? I guess not, unless I already had it defined. So we might have to break this down. So max score minus that, and we don't want it. Hey, Soft Taco Raider, how's it going? So we're gonna have to like floor this as well, because we don't want it to go below 0. So this user's score is going to be a 2 out of 10. Yeah. So that's the new spec side of things. So the other part is for like release notes. Let's do that section. So for release notes, we can just straight up say if there's any failure at all, then the current score is just going to be 0. So we'll say if we're just gonna have to break these things out. So we'd have to say something like the results dot errors dot count is greater than 0. Then we're gonna have to say like what 10, otherwise 0 or whatever. I gotta remember the syntax. I don't think I can do it inside of this. Yeah, I forget what is the simplified if statement C#. I forget exactly. Yeah, that's right. That's what I was looking for. I had a brain fart there. I'm like, why do I have 2 colons? So that should work. Let's try it. Let's see how to read. Wait, why are those getting modded? I'm sorry about that. Why is the term nougat getting getting modded? I have no clue. I'll have to look and see why. Am I writing code to help devs with building nougat packages? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. So basically what we're doing is we're building a scoring concept. So I screwed this one up. I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, so we basically allow you to go through the whole new spec right now, and we'll tell you what's wrong. So that works right now. You'll get a score out of your total score. And then you also can get your read or your release notes. And if you have no release notes, we're just going to give you 0. And that's that. We also have like a README coming up too, so you'll also get something in this area that says provide a valid README, and then if you have it or if you don't, you get free scores. So we need to add I want to add a summary like row or something that looks nice. Like, can I add I'm gonna see what I can do, and then I think that's what we'll probably finish with just this at the end. We've been streaming for a bit, so let's try to add like a footer to the table or something. And the hard part here is that we should have the score, I think. Yeah, we should have the score, so we should be able to just summarize the score. But then we'd have to iterate through it all. So the one thing I'm thinking about is if we're creating these summaries, if we're adding these summaries and we're creating these score sections, so in here, in score here, so I want to look at my table. So I have this nougat conventions table and I add a row. I want to also add a footer if I can, but I'd have to iterate through every score section here. Basically, I want to add a score property of the total score, or basically have the total score, and I want to like have the user score, and I don't want to iterate through it at this time. I want to already have it in my object. So that's what I kind of want to think of. Show footers. So do I have to add a footer? Is there a footer or? So they have columns, and what does show footers do? Like, is it a title? We're gonna have to look at some code. I'm just surprised that something would be automated for the word nougat, just because it's such a unique word. Like, why would that, out of all things, be just auto-modded? I don't know. It's just some bot. I gotta switch my stream elements over to Streamlabs too. I switched over a long time ago. I just never done it. So what does, I want to add a footer or something. I'm just trying to think. I just don't know what the footers would be. Show table footers. How do I add the footer? Like, I already have a row down here, but it's not gonna matter. All right, we're gonna have to look at some of the docs. This is Spectre console or something. So let's look at the table. See, this is what I want my program to be looking like. Like, this is beautiful. See how I have like the tree structure going on? That's why I want to use emojis in my terminals, but it's not supported on Windows, I don't think. So, without like adding things. So how do I do footers? Hide headers. I don't see anything. I guess the other thing too would be we just add a row at the end. That might be the best. I'm sure there's like an example of like a table somewhere, right? Oh, maybe a caption? Maybe that's what I'm looking for? Sure. Let's see what it does. Caption? Ah, table footnote. That's what we want. What do I want here? Maybe like something bolded. Total score. Just want to see if I can see it at this point. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. So it will work. Do I want it there, or do I want it as the actual row, where I would just say you got 2 out of 20? I think I want it as a row, so let's do that instead. So we'll add it. So we have this for each here. We're going to need to add it before we render it. So this will add all those there. We're going to need it right here. And we're going to add a row. What did I want to do with the row? I think we're gonna do like green or something. And then we'll say score. Let's see. I'm gonna have to add everything up though. That's what I didn't want to do. I can do like a link query or something. I don't know. Score port dot follows NuGet conventions dot. I don't want count. I want the actual score of each one. So we're gonna have to do something interesting. I'm not sure what I want to do here. Thinking of like a sum, and then x of x dot current score. So we're gonna have an empty one, and then we're gonna have to do this. Yeah, I see what we're doing now. So we're gonna have to have an empty row. So I don't know how to do that. Just like, how do I do like a new column or something? New empty. I don't know. Maybe just like empty string. Does that work? We'll see. So, and then we'll do green out of. Should we do another green or something? And then we'll do max score. Right? Because it's going to be the sum of them, I think. This might not work, but we'll try it. Green, and what's another good color? What is a good color on the CLI? Blue. Just try it out. See what that looks like. I don't think it built. I don't know why that was missing. Yo, we did it. Oh, we don't have a we don't have a name for it. I need a line here too. There's got to be a way to like do like a footnote thing or something where I just like add up everything. I mean, I've seen this person has really cool tables. See, like that's kind of cool. Oh, right here. Here's some bar things. I need to find this sample, wherever this is. Yeah, how do I do the lines? Border? No. I don't think it's a border. We'll have to look at like the actual table. Is it a rule? Maybe I add a rule and then I add a row. Let's try that. Yeah, I don't know. Let's like add a row, and in here we're just gonna say like new rule, and then call good. I hope it's this easy. And then in this text, we're gonna have to put something. We'll just say like summary or something. Or actually, we'll just say like package score. How about say like dotnet score. I like it. Ship it. I don't know. It looks alright. Okay, so the true test is testing a different package. It's 9 out of 20. Try this one. 2 out of 20. Alright. I don't know if you're still here, Steve, but well, 17 out of 20 for this one. So not too bad, but I think one issue is that you can't ding someone twice. I definitely think we gotta fix those cases, but it is something. It's something at least. So, yeah. So I also want to add a little rule here. So I'd say new rule, or something. I know that sounds super. Oops. Yeah, something like this is, I think, might be cool. Run it. I don't like that. How else can we do it? Maybe, I think I already set everything to expand. Yeah. So the rules are really going to ruin the columns because they're already kind of, that's unfortunate. Let's see what, see, I'm okay with this. It's just like, I still want that horizontal line. There's gotta be a better way. Wait, let me look back at his, if I go back to that home page, see how they all kind of have, oh, I know what it is. I'm gonna feel so dumb for it. All right, yeah, you wanna see what it is? It's this table border, and we're going to use a markdown table. I wanted to use the minimal table because it looks nicer, but this is what we got to resort to. Yep, maybe not markdown either. We're gonna need less minimalist table borders. What's this do? Double header border. Oh, I want to try it. I just want to see what it looks like, but we're gonna have to look at some of the different table borders. We're gonna need a non-minimal one, but I just want to see what this kind of looks like. It's not bad. I mean, I could just bold this and that would look pretty good. If I bolded everything, actually, it might look good. But let's just try the simple, because I think they will border on everything, but we'll see. No, not even. What am I doing wrong then? I feel like I'm doing something wrong then. Border style? I don't know. I thought it was that, but okay, it's not that. I kind of like that heavy minimal double, or let's try the what's the heavy one do? See what this one looks like. See, I kind of like that. It's kind of straight to the point. So the net score and all that stuff, let's just make sure that we add the, I think bold is bold. I don't think it's anything else. I could be wrong. Green, I'm gonna see if I can also bold this. And then I don't know if I need a double. Do I? Maybe. I don't know what the syntax is, so we'll try it out. And let's do twice. So try this. So I don't think that's bolding it. It bolded this one. Can you have colors and bold? Let's look at the markup rules. Yellow, underline, you put it in the same thing. Okay. Bold green. And let's try that. Doesn't look bolded. Are they all bolded, or am I don't think they are they? Scores? Current score, max score. Up here. Where's the other score? I'm having it's in the table. Or sorry, the tree. Where do I have the tree at? Oh, right here. Or maybe not. These are all U's. Yeah. So wait, is it color first then? Underline green, bold. Bold yellow on blue. I kind of want to try that. What is that going to look like? Let's just try it. Maybe white on green. I don't know. I think it looks all right. I just can't tell if these are bolded. I'm gonna assume they are. So we can just move on. What else? I feel like I've accomplished everything I wanted to do tonight. We have all the new specs working. We have some basic scoring going. Yeah, I mean, the one thing I want to do is I have a lot of duplicate code right here. All this is pretty much duplicated of everything I have in that first one. So I wish I could refactor this. The hard part is that I want it to have all these sections because they are specific sections, even though they are kind of duplicated information. I need to somehow make it more generic score card thing. So I don't think that will happen for a little bit, but maybe I need a different method. I just gotta think it through, but instead of throwing in the score here, I would say dump the score for the score report here for the follow NuGet convention or whatever. But it's just hard because then you lose all this part. So right now I'm all right with just all the duplicate code, and in the future I'm probably going to think about something else. I just don't know. So yeah, I think we'll call it a night at that because we did a lot. We did a lot of cool stuff. Just kind of a recap for people who missed. You know what? Why don't we add an empty row here first? Before we go, we got to make sure that this looks nice. So we'll say add an empty row. Just because like it would just look nicer this way. We need that space. Yeah, just like that. I wish we could just do a horizontal rule here, but we found out that the rules will expand too much. But then again, let's try something. I kind of want to try. Let's try this again. Let's do row, new rule, new rule, and then instead of expanding, let's just see what happens when we say don't expand. Maybe that will keep the structure. No, it didn't at all. Why does it? Maybe the rules need to be a smaller weight or width. So we'll go back, and in here, I think I can probably add a, it's a title. Can I potentially like just say what size I want to do? Is there a width or something? Let's see if there's any docs on it. So maybe rule is not what I want. Maybe there's something else. I just can't think of it. Oh, maybe it's a panel. Is that what a panel is? This thing? It has to be a panel. So maybe in the rule, or in here, add a new rule, but add a new panel. Okay. And then in that panel is going to be that thing, right? Does that work? Let's see. So the panel needs text, and it has text. But the row, let's try this really quick. Let's get rid of this row. And then in here, it's saying new panel. So why does that not work? Can I not add a new panel in a... Thought I could, just like this, right? So does the panel need the markup in it? Let's see if they had that example. Because they did something crazy with tables. So a panel, where are the panels? Yeah, it should just work, right? So new table column. So the table columns would have to be panels then? I'm thinking so. Yeah. So I can't do a panel in a row. Is that what it's trying to tell me? Cannot resolve add row panel interpret a string. So it has to be table iRenderable. So maybe it might be that it needs more of these. I don't know. I doubt it. Oh, no. Okay. So let's see what that does. Okay. Closer. I just don't like it. Panels, I guess, just go around the contents of it then. So if I put a panel on the columns, they'd look a little bit nicer potentially. It might look nicer on each one of these two. But I mean, this is just not needed, so let's get rid of it. So we don't want that. We don't like the rule thing. I say we'll just add an empty row for now. Yeah, so this thing builds pretty much a lot of different like ASCII things. So this project basically will, you know, you can add markup, which will add like colors or really anything, underlines, fonts, all that type of stuff. Panels will create a panel around the contents. And I was thinking that if I somehow made a panel that would be large enough or expanded to its contents, then it would give me that horizontal rule that I want without screwing up my table. kind of want to say that maybe table collapse. I want to try it. So let's try to not do that. Let's have it collapse. Let's see what it does right here first. So I would hope that this thing would go over a little bit, shifting to the left. It doesn't seem like it moved. Okay. I mean, if I added those rules back, I am almost positive it's not going to do anything. Like, even here, I don't think I can add anything. It's just an empty row, isn't it? Yeah. But if I tried it... I mean, I just gotta find a different way to approach it. I think my brain's getting a little fried to figure out what the heck it is. I just don't think this is gonna work. These rules are way too long and they're equally created. So they're going to take 33% of the space. And I don't want that. I want it to be less like that. So we're just gonna leave it as empty row for now. I want to look at some of their other samples though, because like they had a cool, like let's look at rules. What do they all do here? Do like an ASCII border, yeah, like center things. That's kind of cool. Grids. What is a grid? Is that new? I've never heard of that. Yeah, that seems like it's, maybe it's brand new. Look at that. Yeah, like a month ago. I don't even know what a grid would do. I assume it's very similar to like the WPF grids. I just don't think I need that right now. Maybe it'd be nice to add some stuff later, but eh. What else are there? There's emojis. What is this? Oh, okay. I thought it was saying that there's like a method to render emojis, and I was missing that with the Windows. Charts? What's this do? Oh, that'd be cool. What if I did that? Alright, let me catch up on chat really quick. Do I have any tips on selecting the right company for someone new in the industry, such as startup or big company versus startup that's recently acquired? Yeah, so there's a lot of considerations. The first one would be you're newer to the industry, so you want to kind of think about your career long term. Startup, like a startup that has funding, hasn't been acquired yet, is going to be a lot of hats, meaning a lot of jobs, working a lot of time, like a lot of hours, and just a lot of responsibility. So if you are okay with that, definitely consider it. Like I worked for a startup, and it was a wonderful experience, right? Like I did a lot of different jobs. Like I did tech support, I did product development, I did like one-off tooling things, I did like bug management, I did a lot of different things, and so I really liked it because it helped me have the skill set I have today. When it comes to big companies, like big companies are great to get like practical and real world experience, and also the bigger the company, the more of a the less responsibility you have, I guess, if that makes sense. So like you're going to be focusing on less. You're going to have probably a larger project, but a smaller scope of what you'll actually be doing within it. So you kind of get that. However, like bigger companies definitely have like, you know, politics involved and a lot of like how you get visibility in them and stuff like that. So, you know, nothing wrong with a big company. It's just like, it's just considerations of like what type of company. Would it be like going from a small to large type of business, like small to medium type of business, or even like a big tech company where thousands and thousands of employees and you're just a fly on the wall. Like those are things you got to consider too. The less devs on your team, that means the more responsibility you're going to have. The more devs on your team, the more possibility there is to like lead and become like a team lead and stuff like that. So consider that. Startup that's recently acquired. They can be interesting to work for. The problem is that once a company is more or less acquired, they don't really have, they're kind of going through that like a simulation phase, and they're not necessarily going to have, sorry, I just realized like there's a lot of like dog hair on my microphone. So I'm just looking at my TikTok feed and I just see all this dog hair. But yeah, so startup that's already been acquired, I mean, you got to think about it. Like most of the people are going to be exiting. They might be staying at the company that they got acquired from, like for the next, I don't know, 4 years or however long their vesting schedule are. So you're going to see a lot of people who made that product a thing, potentially move on to greener pastures, or they're going to be part of the new company's mission. And you might even get like double the excitement. So it's kind of a, I don't know, 50-50. It just depends. And I mean, if you're really passionate about it, that'd be what I'd say. But honestly, it's not like, I don't think that there's a best approach. It's just like follow your gut, follow what it really interests you, because if you like the idea of doing a lot of small things and being more of a generalist, then startups are your thing. If you want to be more like T-shaped knowledge and be more specialist, then a big jives with you, because I've done them all. And like I like startups, but also like I have a family now, and it's a little bit harder because I would rather spend time with my family than work long hours when I know that there's little payoff with regards to how many hours I work. So I don't know. That's my thoughts though. Let's see. Recommend a place that you feel like you can grow and continue to evolve, never staying stagnant. Yeah, so I've actually been writing a lot of blogs. Let me just share a few of them, just because I've been kind of off the radar for the last month. In Texas here, we had a winter storm for the last week. And then previous to that, bounced back pretty quickly. It's just that, we had to kind of take it easy. So other than that, I've been kind of not creating as much content, but articles. Oh, and if you want the story of how that happened, my kid goes to a daycare, and I'm assuming that kids are just carriers of this. And, we haven't actually gone out anywhere. So it's been kind of interesting. Like you can catch something when you have very, very little exposure, and they do like all the testing, and they do like the heat, temperatures, everyone wears masks, all that type of stuff. So you just never know. Yeah, so which one was I talking about? I forget what I was, I've been writing a lot. I wanted to talk about, we're talking about startups, and this is the one I wanted to bring up. So I've worked remotely for my whole career. So ever since I was 19 years old, I've been working remotely. So my thoughts are, if the company supports how you want to work too, it's a very big sign that you're going to fit in well. So I just talk about like this article. I'll just link it in Twitch chat if people want to check it out. But just this idea that like you're going to find a company that you absolutely hate. Like I was kind of joking that I had a gig where I thought this opportunity was going to help me grow as a dev, and it actually made me hate my life. So I've talked about this on the stream many times, but there was just people there that were literally the Office Space characters. They would walk around with their mugs, and they were like the manager types because they were at that company for long enough to get that title, even though they were very incompetent for the most part. And it was just like this idea of like checking up on your work, and people never got work done because everyone was checking up on their work. And so I just basically said like I turned into Ron from Office Space, where he just like comes in and gets a promotion when he says I don't care anymore. Like so check out the article. It has some interesting pieces in there, but also consider like how you want to work in the future. It's not just about going into offices anymore. I've been very vocal about this on my streams, at least, because I've been that first generation who has worked remotely my whole career, and I've had a privilege of doing that. So you know, just kind of consider those things. Like, do you want to work remotely? Do you want to work in an office? What company would support that type of thing? Would you want to work in a hybrid situation where you kind of like go into an office every so often? Like those type of things. The world is interesting when it comes to software. Like I can do my whole job on email and GitHub alone, right? So it's kind of a question of like, is that how you want to be doing your job as well? Or do you want a lot more collaborative and all that type of stuff? So the thing about it is like startups for the most part are very, very collaborative. Like you're going to be working with people on creative solutions for the most part. And then like big companies for the most part, you're going to be kind of like, I don't know. I feel like innovation isn't fully like the focus in some big companies. And so like, it just depends on what you're really interested in. Like if you want to work at a big company, get paid good money and have like stable benefits and all that type of stuff to maintain stuff, that's great. It's a lot of good experience and stuff, but you know, like it's really where your heart is. Like if you really want to like push the wire of like what you can do with software, or like what you can do to a market, like for example, like building a new app or something, like those are the interesting things. Those are what like makes you excited to go to work every day. And I think that's what you want. So oh, apparently I'm showing up on people's FYPs, even though I have like 3 viewers on TikTok. Yeah, it's just it's interesting. Just from the last year alone, the world has shifted. Everyone has kind of been working remotely anyway, and a lot of different jobs, not just tech jobs, just a lot of different jobs that kind of have seen that like this is totally reasonable, and this is like going to be the future. So I don't know. I think when it comes down to finding a job too, put that on the table, because like you're going to be the person who's in demand. It's not going to be vice versa. And a lot of people are going to say no, like you should be, you know, thankful that people are going to give you a job and stuff like that. But I want to say something, which is the developer demand right now is crazy. There are, geez, I'm going to find some of the stats for you, but it's something of like 20 million developers of a deficit right now. So the market today can actually hold up to like 41 million developers, and there are only like 20 something million developers in the world. So consider that, right? Like your skills and how long you took to obtain them are how like are what companies need right now. Like them paying you 6 figures, even starting out, is not unheard of anymore. Like when I started, it was like you were getting paid. I lived in Salt Lake City, so it was like $60,000 was like an average salary, and I would always push it, and I'd push the limit of like I wanted that, and I got that, and then you know the next time I searched for a job, it was always increasing and increasing and increasing, and then you just kind of figure out your market rate and stuff like that. So don't worry too much about like when it comes to like total compensation and benefits and all that stuff. Like some people, it could be very toxic. You'll see like people on different like Reddit threads or things like that where they're like, you know, total comp or GTFO or whatever, and it's like that doesn't matter half the time, because like you're going to be at this limit where you get paid well enough that you have everything, you have all your needs met. And so really everything else is just a bonus. You can save a lot more money or, meet other goals, but at a time, it's just like that stuff doesn't matter. The work actually matters because you don't want to burn out. So you want to pick your work very wisely, I guess, of things that you're interested in, because if you're not interested in the work, or you're not doing something that's like innovative or interesting, very, very likely, like, it doesn't matter how much money you make, you're just going to be miserable at work. And so, just kind of consider that. So, I'd love to work remotely, but but have a choice to work in an office when I feel like it. And that's how everyone feels. I think it's on this Twitter thread that inspired my article. Let me actually see it. Last 12 months about what's happening with remote work. Companies are cutting their office space by 50 to 70%. Nuts. They will allow workers to work from home 2 to 4 days a week and come into the office 1 to 2 days a week. Isn't that crazy? That's going from 5 days a week to, like working from home majority, 70% of the week, if not, right? 30% of companies are trying to get rid of the offices and going remote first. Like, that's crazy. Talent. This is one thing that I think is the most important thing, is that if you are remote first as a company, you get access to the best developers in the world. If you think about it, if you have an open source project and the people who are interested in your project and also contributing the most code, or like something that's very impactful to your project, maybe they don't even have a computer science degree, but they're the best person to do the job. If you can hire them in their local place, you also get a cheaper dev potentially, because rates are way different. People who get paid here in the US get paid a lot more than places like, say, like Europe or Australia or whatever, right? So you get access to anyone, and also it's kind of win-win because they get to stay near their family, and also they get to make whatever wages competitive over there, right? Other thing too is, like, if you think about costs, so I don't know, like, cost to me is, if companies cut costs with regards to office expenses, they should reinvest them into the remote worker. So like, if they spent $20,000 a year on a worker in an office space, they should be able to provide remote workers with like better office setups, or like lunch stipends or something like that. That's just my opinion. I mean, most companies are probably just going to reinvest it or buy back stock or something like that. So I think if you invest in your employees, they're happier, and obviously they'll stay longer. And in an industry where people more or less like competitively job hop almost every year or every other 2 years, I would say that this is one of the most beneficial things you can do, which is, hey, we care about you. We're going to hook you up, and we want to be loyal to you. You'll be loyal to us, right? Silicon Valley is the worst when it comes to job hopping. I just hate that culture. I've always been a very loyal person to like the missions of companies and things like that. So I don't know. It's just a weird thing in me. I understand when you need to do it though. I definitely do. Burnout. So most people are burning out, and this is just the reality of the world, right? Everyone's working in one location, under quarantine, under these weird constraints, and they're also working harder. Ever since last March, I've done a lot more work, and I've been exhausted every single night. And I haven't got to the point of burnout because I can take care of myself outside of work and like before work and stuff like that. But this is really prevalent. Like, I've seen people burn out. They just aren't able to contribute the same ways that they have in the past, and they're just kind of like floating by, doing enough to not get fired, that type of stuff. And it's a thing that nobody wants to talk about, but like, companies are stepping in and they're taking a stand and saying like, hey, here's a whole week of vacation, go recharge, or hey, here's some money to go get your mind off of everything, like that type of stuff. And so it's crazy, because if you think about it, burnout could lead to way more disaster in terms of like how much you're paying somebody to work for you in the first place, but also if they can't really do as much as they used to be able to do, it's really hard, right? So keeping people happy is super important, especially when you're remote, because you don't get that FaceTime or those benefits that everyone else gets. Let's see. I think there's more on this thread too, but yeah. So people are basically trying to like do offsites to like different islands, Cancun, whatever it is. I don't know. I actually did this with the startup I worked with. We would meet twice a year, usually one place in the US where we had a conference, and then once in either San Francisco or Boston. So those were always awesome because everyone more or less just hung out with each other, got to know each other more, because everyone was from like different parts of the open source world, right? Yeah, so I mean, I gotta say, like, everyone that I know with regards to like working remotely, very similar. 90% of people who work remotely don't ever want to go back to an office full time. And I mean, it's one of those things that once you do it, like you realize that, you know, you've been going into an office all along. And I don't know, that's where when I went to this job, this whole culture, I already had remote work under my belt, and I felt that as soon as I changed that, I made a huge mistake. And it was a mistake. So, you know, we figured it all out. So I don't know. There's a lot of other things too, like personal injuries. I don't really buy this one too much, but I can understand it for more people working a little bit more. But it's just like people don't have the equipment, right? So they don't have like the nice chair like I have, which is like this is the first thing I bought 10 years ago. When I was 19 years old, going back to this whole thing, my first paycheck, I bought this chair. This is the same chair. Like, it's 10 years old. It was expensive. It was like $1,500 at the time, but think about it. It's 10 years old and it's in like some of the best shape. Like, it still looks brand new. So I don't know. I think you got to invest in these type of things, especially your back. Your back is probably the biggest one. So having like the lumbar support and things like that, but also like all your equipment. Some people will invest into ergonomic type keyboards and mouses and, you know, like those type of things. I have a standing desk. Like, I can go up. You'll actually see me kind of fading away. I can go down. Like, these type of things are really important, because as you are sitting for like 8 hours or whatever, like, you don't move much in the hours. So if you can like stand up, or you can, you know, kind of have a different stance or posture every so often, it just helps, you know, get the blood flowing, or, you know, you just kind of feel better, I guess. And then like just general equipment. Like, I can't show everyone here, but like, I have a messy desk. Like, this is my current situation, but, you know, like, I have 2 monitors. Let's show TikTok as well. You know, like, I have a lot of different things. You know, keyboard. I have an actual, just like a regular keyboard. I have a mic stand that just kind of like, I can push this thing away with an arm. Like, a lot of that different type of stuff, because like I'm on Teams calls for majority of the day. Like, to like push these things out in, it's just so much nicer, right? So I don't know. I think equipment's a huge one, and it's an upfront cost, right? Like, I've had this stuff for years, and, you know, I've only spent, you know, maybe a few grand on it, like, total. So I don't know. I just really believe in that type of stuff, because it helps you work, be more effective. Noise canceling headphones, right? Like, huge. If you're in office, or even if you're not in office, you know, you might have animals, you might have noisy neighbors, you might have something else going on, and these things they just help you. They help you concentrate, focus, all that type of stuff. So the basic thing I'm saying is, like, the return on investment on some of these things is going to be amazing. And, you know, don't cheap out on the things that you use every single day. It's kind of like the idea of people who you sleep 70% of what is it? I forget what the number is, but like, you sleep a lot, right? So like, invest in a bed, because that's like one of your number one investments. Same thing with work. If you work 8 hours a day, or majority of your your waking day, right? Invest into the equipment that makes you less tired or less fatigued, that type of stuff. These things are totally valid too. Like if you don't drive, you're not going to be polluting the environment and stuff, right? And if you don't have offices, you don't have to keep the lights on and stuff like that as much. So, I mean, all that stuff just kind of moves to the person rather than the office or company. So, what other things? Quality of life. I think this one's really interesting, and I don't know if other people feel the same, but this is how I feel. I feel like 8-hour days is totally fine with regards to like working for a company. I think in the US, 8 hours is like an expected number. I know in other places it's a little bit less. I think people don't really realize that like 8 hours it's an interesting number, but at the same time, it's the expectation that you're going to be producing something like meetings and stuff like that. And then you get like a certain amount of time for, your individual type work, your, whatever you need to do for your job, your IC work is what they call it. So in my opinion, I think companies are getting away from this. Like they or at least they need to, right? Because that's what happens with burnout is they expect you to be working for at least 8 hours a day. The problem is that like companies and people need to rethink this, which is like you need to think in terms of outcomes. If you are a really good programmer and you say designed a solution for 80% of your time and then 20% was spent coding it, right? You should really only work with regards to how to actually have those outcomes be a thing, right? So I firmly believe in this concept, which is, if you know what it is, it's focus time and diffuse time, which is more or less like when you have spurts of being productive and then spurts of time where you're unproductive on purpose because your subconscious is solving all those problems for you. So that's what I'm trying to say is that for the 8 hours that most people work at a traditional company, you're almost on that focused level, or you're trying to be, and like on and off for that whole 8 hours. And I think a lot of companies realize that, and that's why like you look at like Google or Facebook or whatever, and they have like pinball tables and rock climbing equipment, all this other like fun stuff, because they really want you to actually kind of relax every so often. And but nobody talks about it, so nobody does it, and nobody wants to like take advantage of those things. Some people actually think best when they're doing something they actually enjoy. So if you're out skiing or playing basketball or whatever it might be, like you're actually solving all those problems in your head as that blood is flowing, all that other type of stuff, and then you come back to work and you can knock out a problem that would have took you like a whole month in a day. Like, I don't know, that's just my personal opinion on it. So I don't think that companies need to think in terms of outputs. I think they need to think in terms of outcomes. If I can do the job in 1 hour, I should be able to get say paid for what is the equivalent of that 8 hours of just sitting in a chair. So that's the hard part. That's my opinion though, which is just, if I bring the same outcome that I would with regards to just sitting in the chair and having those outputs, like that's kind of where I come from. The work smarter, not harder type idea. But I don't know. Is there a study about 7-hour workday being more productive? There was a study about the four-day work week being more productive, I think. So 4-day work week productivity study or something like that. But yeah, they have a lot of these different things. I think it was Microsoft Japan. But look at this. Like, I don't know. I haven't read too much in the research, but like if you just look at some of these things, like 4-day work week boosted workers' productivity by 40%. I don't know. Like, it's just, if you think about it, I think when we are able to recharge more, we'd become more productive. I firmly believe in that. I've lived in that before, and I don't know. I even said this in here, which was, I do think that there's going to be more time off, and I do think that there's going to be shifting to 4-day work weeks. Just because I firmly believe in that idea. I really do. And I don't know. I don't think it's going to be 4-day, 10-hour days, right? I think it's going to be cutting the hours, just so the employee can have more time to do that diffused work, that subconscious work, that taking care of whatever they need to get their mind off of their life so that they can focus on most of the work, right? Like, that's the other part too, is if we're always working, we're never living. And I know that sounds weird, but like, if you think about it, if you don't ever have time to go do errands, that those errands have to get done sometime. You're going to be doing them on the weekend instead, and then now you didn't relax. You did all those errands on the weekend instead. So every Wednesday off, I come up with solutions to shower, bring showers to work. I'm gonna say I don't want to shower at work, but that's just me. I just yeah, I don't know. There's like that story of that one person who like lived in the AOL headquarters for almost a year or something. Wasn't an employee, but would use all the facilities, the gym, the showers, all that other type of stuff. It's pretty funny. Yeah, so I don't know. I think that's interesting. I think we're gonna see a lot of this cool changes. I think it's gonna be interesting because like we're gonna see a whole new revolution of like what it is to work, and I don't know. I'm just excited to see what happens, and I'm also excited to see people go back to the office too, and get back to a somewhat normal life, if that's even a thing anymore. But I don't know. I think that we're kind of going to be living in that hybrid world moving forward, and not everyone can work remotely. Some people hate working remotely. Like right now, they despise even turning on a computer, and I totally can relate. So all right, let's see. Yeah, so I mean, for the most part, we got a lot of what we wanted to do done. I'm going to commit everything here. I don't know if people want to see this repo, I can open source it. It's just on a private repo right now, but if people want to look, if they want to contribute, I can open it up. And other than that, I mean, that's all I was planning on for this stream, but I'll talk for, I don't know, maybe another 10 minutes or so. What do I think it takes for companies to adopt these practices? I think that the companies have to announce it, and they have to make commitments to it, and they can't like pull back. So one thing is like Microsoft, right? Will let employees work from home permanently, right? You see this report. You see Twitter remote work, right? Like Twitter can work for forever, right? You look at Facebook and you see remote work, and Facebook allows for permanent remote work, right? So like, as long as every company is planning for it and pushing for it and encouraging it, that's the catalyst of it all. So man, I have to figure out why AutoMod is doing this to you. I'm sorry. Whenever you type in Nougat, it for some reason it is modding you. So I'll check out why that is. Maybe something's in like the default list. I mean, I haven't even touched the bot, so I have no clue. But yeah, so I think all these companies need to first make an announcement, second, make it happen, and then third, encourage it everywhere. I don't think it's equal for everyone, because like, let's go back a few, I'll just go ahead and throw an idea out there, right? Like, if you're brand new to the industry, like foot in the door, and it's your first job or whatever, it might be really hard because it's hard to have that direction. Like when you work in an office, sometimes you can get that direction by having a supervisor or like somebody who, you know, is close in your I don't know, your tenure or whatever, and like you work with them really closely or whatever. So I don't know. I personally believe that anybody who joins the industry can be successful remotely. And I mean, this is the same thing with like going to school. A lot of people are going to school remotely right now, and many of them are successful as they would be in school, right? Some of them aren't as successful because it's a little bit harder because of all the auto graders and things like that. So I don't know. I think the hybrid model will exist for a really, really long time, but I think the biggest thing is that people need options. If I were to get hired at a company, I would hope that my option was, hey, you can work remotely, or hey, we will relocate you. You get to choose, you know, which one works best for you, right? That's my hope. That's my hope. And I think most companies will be doing that, but you never know. Like some companies can take these policies back as soon as everything's over and everyone more or less is immune, right? Like that could happen, but I don't know. You know, these companies, a lot of these companies have huge campuses, or they're building new ones, and they need people there because they already have that sunk cost of paying the construction companies or, you know, the designers and all that type of stuff for building it. So I don't know, but I just really hope that people hold these statements accountable. So if there is plans for permanent remote work and people can transition to that and have that as their work agreement, they need to think about it too. Whenever you work for a company, you're at will, and you have a contract typically of saying what that at will agreement is. So I think contracts also need to be updated if this is the case, where it says, you know, there's a clause that says, yeah, you can work remotely, and also we're not going to force you to relocate, you know, those type of things. So I don't know. I'm just really hopeful that everything will kind of be there. Was I thinking about a companion app that writes the new spec file? So right now, it's kind of an interesting thing because the new spec file is actually an old concept. So how this works in like Visual Studio, if I were to SDK style project, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like. But if you look at the CS proj file, like in code or something like that, so like you'll see how simple this project file is. It has one property that says target framework and then a project at the top. Really, really straightforward and simple. When you create a NuGet package from this, basically what will happen is you will have this package that has a generated new spec for you. So it's all these metadata elements that aren't in that file auto-generated for you, and that mostly comes from a lot of the properties inside of your project. So like your assembly name, you have this package folder thing over here, which is like what's your ID that you want for this thing, what's your version, all this type of stuff. So what I want to do is I want to make a not necessarily like I want to make this a way that you can say like, okay, I want to do this, and then I want to bring all this stuff over, or I want to like validate it. So right now it's just about validating and let the user know that they need to, you know, change these things. So for example, like, hey, go to this place and enter in a repository, or add some tags, or make some release notes, like blah, 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 or whatever it might be, right? I want them to validate all this stuff first. And that's only half of what this is. But when they do this and they have everything in here, right? Like when they now generate a pack file or whatever, this might fail, but we'll see. Yeah. Yeah, so like if I had an icon file, let's get rid of the icon file. node already created it. Yeah, that should work now. My VS is broken, but that's because I have like so many VSs on this machine. So that works. So now when we go into this folder, you know, we're going to see a lot more metadata, right? All that type of stuff. And so we just want to let people know that there's a lot more that they can add into it. And then also some of the best practices for them, which is like, you know, the description should be a description and all that type of stuff. But then the other part is validating a lot of the concepts of what you put into the package, which is a lot of that stuff is missing. So we'll get there. This project is only a couple days of dev time now, and it's come a really long way. So I'm actually really excited, especially for where we are now. Like right now we have all the new spec stuff at least like validated in terms of missing and stuff like that, and that doesn't exist in the tools, right? Like if I were to pack like any of these things missing that are optional, even though they're like best practices, like you don't get a warning, you don't get anything right now. So just trying to make a small little tool for that. Maybe I just need to say NuGet. Yeah, that's how it is. We do screen sharing a lot for peer interactions as far as peer coding or mobbing on something. Yeah, and I think that's the thing is like how are those experiences going to look like in the future, right? Like I don't know, people will jump on calls all the time and, you know, work out solutions and stuff. You know, there's a lot of those new concepts like Visual Studio Live Share, or like REPL I think has Live Share as well. But you know, you can do this live share idea and anyone can join your chat windows, and then you can have cursors and all that type of stuff where you collaboratively work on a project. So I think that's a really cool concept, and how that can be, you know, combined with you know, video chat and GitHub and all these different things, I think would be really interesting. Because, you know, it's like, how do we collaborate is the hardest challenge, especially when it comes to software and stuff. Making these things easy and cool tooling will just make it a great experience overall. So all right, well, it is getting a little late for me. I'll take a couple more questions, but I'm gonna go let's do like 3 more minutes or so. How do I like live share? It's been interesting when it first came out. I'll be honest, I don't use it too much. I don't know. I think the biggest reason why is like I don't code too much anymore. Like you'll probably actually see like a lot of my code is really gross, and I do a lot more like product work nowadays. So I think it could be very useful, but I do think you need to have like voice communication, and I think they actually have a feature in live share for that nowadays. I mean, I don't know, does anyone know? I thought they did. Oh, maybe not. But yeah, yeah, I guess not. But yeah, I think you need some type of way to communicate outside of visually. Like the live share is cool because you can see where the people's cursors are when they type, and you know, the part is really interesting for like mentoring and things like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think you need to have some type of other communication other than visual. I think you need you know, audio is a big one, and I think you already have the other two. So I think you have the visual and the kinesthetic ideas, which is you can type stuff and then also you can see stuff. So I think the audio part is the big missing concept here. And I mean, you can always jump on a Slack, Teams, Discord, those type of calls. So, I mean, I don't think that's a barrier anymore. It never has really been. Yeah, I don't know, like, technical interviews. What is this? What's a planned session? Is this brand new? Reusable sessions now have a place. Allows you to host a live share session in advanced. So this is kind of like future sessions. So that's cool. I think what would be cool, and this is just maybe me thinking in the future, but think of like when you create a meeting for a meeting, like you say, okay, I want to attach a Slack meeting or a Google Hangouts or a Teams meeting or whatever it might be. I want this to be built into those type of tooling where I could say, hey, we're going to have we're going to do like a mob programming session, or we're going to design a spec or something like that, all that stuff. And then everyone joins. I don't know if they join the VS Code thing. That would be kind of cool. The reason why I said that would be really cool is because like I'm just trying to think about it, because like I feel like most of the meetings that I go to and that I have in my career, it's always like one person leads something, right? And like I do a lot of that myself too, but what I'm thinking is like I don't like that, because not everyone gets to contribute in the same way. And if you had something like this and you had like a document open and that everyone can just contribute to it, even if it, you know, like it could have been like a Word document, but if you think about it, like we kind of live in this world where like Markdown and various like low fidelity things in terms of like code and what Visual Studio Code supports is actually perfect for a lot of these different use cases. Like let's design a system, or let's write a proposal, or let's work on this part of the code base or something together. I think that would be really, really cool. So if you can like grab a link or something, I think that'd be cool. Yeah, I want to see how that works. Let's see. They had a grab attention button at VS Point. Oh yeah, I think I remember that. That was an interesting thing. Was it that you grabbed focus, or did it like ping? I don't really remember. So I have reusable sessions, Insider, Jupyter Notebooks or something. Yeah, I gotta say, like, I think the pair programming tools have come a really long way. It just really depends on how you prefer to pair program. I gotta be honest, like the more senior I've got, I feel like nobody really likes to pair program, or even just like design in pairs or groups, that type of stuff. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Like I like when I was first a developer, I worked a lot with my brother, and we would do like pair programming all the time. So, yeah, I don't know. I just don't prefer it anymore. But I think it just depends. You gotta have like people who are thinking on the same like speed as you, because I think that's the hard part too. Is sometimes you'll have like I've done it before, like where like you'll mentor more junior people, and sometimes it could be just a I don't know, you're just like showing discipline for, or really just patience, I guess, of like, you know, let them drive, like don't say too many things, you know, like kind of just like just be there and be patient. And sometimes that's hard, definitely pretty hard. I think it was grab focus where you showed, yeah, I remember that feature, because like it was kind of like the Facebook poke or whatever, and I remember we would keep like switching screens back and forth, where it's like they were in this file and then I was in this file, and then we go back and forth and all that type of stuff. I gotta say, like, I'm not a huge fan of mob programming personally. Mob programming is just pair programming on steroids. But I just don't like, I don't know, I've just never had, I don't know. I just never have liked it. Then again, I've only done it once, and it was at the place that I did not really enjoy my job. So I can definitely be biased there, probably. All right, friends. Well, we're about hitting that 3-hour mark. I'm gonna go to bed, and I think we did some awesome stuff. So feel free to check out the stream. For today, we did 2 streams. So we had one earlier where we kind of went through kind of some of the thoughts of what we're going to do, and then we did it just barely. So check that out. I'm going to start recording a lot more YouTube videos and TikToks and things like that. So just kind of keep an eye out. It's been a while. I'm sorry that it's been a bit for a lot of that more video content, but I've done a bit of writing, and I actually wanted to share with people before y'all head out tonight, which is I'm working on a thing called the Part-Time Programmer, and this has been kind of a side project and kind of secret. I haven't actually announced it to like most people other than people on the stream so far, and very limited audiences. But this, if you're learning to become a software engineer, whether you went to college, whether you haven't, whether you want a new career, this is for you. And this is more or less, I am doing all these different videos, and I have a lot of workbooks as well, where they're very hands-on, of more or less just teaching you how to teach yourself to become a software engineer. And I know that you're probably going to say, what do you mean teach myself to, you know, become a software engineer? Well, here's the truth, right? I've been in the industry for about 10 years. I went to college for 3 of those years, got my bachelor's. I went back for 1 year to work on a master's degree. Didn't really like it. So, you know, I said, well, how did I actually learn a lot of this stuff? And all it was is that I have been a self-taught person for a really long time. That's how I learn, is I just teach myself. So I have done a lot of research on this. I've gone through a lot of these different things, but the biggest things are that to become a software engineer, to become a web developer, mobile developer, machine learning specialist, anything that you want to do in the tech world, there's no secret. Like, it's just about choosing the right skills, you know, rapidly learning those skills and repeating this over and over and over again, right? So I don't want to go through everything here. I'll leave a link here. Nothing's open for like pre-order or anything like that, but just know that I am working on this. And what I will be helping you out with is I have a system that I use for how I teach myself things and how I stay relevant with things and all that other type of stuff. But the big parts are like, there's a lot of things that you're not going to know with regards to getting that foot in the door, or what you should do to optimize to get your resumes or portfolio seen. So this whole course has a lot of different things in it. You're going to kind of work to publish blogs. You're going to learn about how to grab skills and kind of dissect them into like things that you can do every single day. And also it's going to take a lot of that like scariness out of doing a huge thing, right? Like learning to become a web developer from scratch is super daunting. And so I want to just make sure that, you have that path forward of how do you figure these things out. So this course is for anyone, even like people who are super senior if you wanted to as well. These things are things you're not going to be taught in school. You're not going to be taught at a boot camp. You're going to pick these things up. You're going to figure out your own way around them. But for me, these are things that I found patterns and, just ways that I found to work for me and what my philosophy really is. Nothing's really anything special, right? They mostly come from a large amount of different books, different techniques, different research, different just like hands-on experiences. And, if they don't resonate with you, then, I'll totally refund all your money. So just know that I'm not really asking for much. This is a huge effort I think I'm asking for $97, but just know that this is an interesting thing. I'll actually show you a lot of the content in future streams as well. But the big things is that I'm going to teach you what I think the programmer mindset is. I hinted at that a little bit earlier on stream, which is like the different types of modes you need to be in, and also how you need to be very, you have to take advantage of the time that you're not working or not focusing. What the idea of like always being in a learning mindset and also having like a growth mindset, right? So there's a lot of different things inside of here. System of learning is probably the biggest piece of this whole thing, but it's how do you take what you want to learn and dissect it into ways that you can actually take action every single day. So it's going to tell you more or less of a lot of the different techniques for how you can learn, but more or less just create a infinite content pipeline of I need to learn this new skill. How do I break it down into micro skills or even macro skills and just kind of go with that. So I don't want to go over too much of it, but just know that you're going to be more or less putting inputs of the skills and the things that you want to learn, and then your outputs are going to be like really meaningful projects and different like experiences that you're going to have by just engaging in them. So we'll also talk about a learning roadmap. I can go to find an open source degree. You can go and find a roadmap. Like I think there's like roadmap.sh or something, where you can just find just roadmaps of what you want to learn. I'll teach you basically everything that I know about. Some of these actually include some of the things I show. But how do you find what you want to learn? That's probably the biggest thing, is knowing what to learn is probably the golden question, right? Like we go to college and we ask the college like, what should I learn? And then they give us the skills and then we go get a job. We go and give a boot camp $10,000 of our money and they tell us here's what your learning roadmap is, and there's no necessarily guarantees, right? So I'll just kind of give you at least my thoughts on it, which is here's a lot of different ways how you can approach this. You can go on a more theoretical side, which is more computer science based and theory based, or you can go more practical, which is more practical bootcamp skills or just getting up to speed with like web development, mobile development, all that type of stuff. I talk about hacking habits. I'm a huge habit nerd myself. So I will teach you everything that I've done in the last couple of years. I'll give you a couple things that I've done personally. Like I ran a half marathon from scratch in the last year. I'm actually training for a marathon now. So like I've been an avid runner for a while, and that was all because I figured out how to hack my habits. I've lost over 70 pounds because I've figured out how to diet and hack my habits that way. And, quitting a lot of bad habits like playing too many video games, or like, even smaller things like, eating unhealthy foods or smoking or whatever it might be, right? Like these things will apply to those things, but really what we're trying to do is hack your learning habits and how you can become a better learner. So if you think about it, every minute that you're reading or learning or all those different types of things, they add up very quickly over your span of your career. So we'll be talking about that. Rapid skill acquisition is more or less just talking about how you can take these skills and use techniques to acquire them. So you can actually find courses on this online. I think Barbara, I forget her last name, Barbara Oakley probably has the most prominent materials. It's nothing really different than that, but I want to give a spin on what I think is really important with rapid skill acquisition. So you have a lot of different things like active recall is a big one, interweaving, and even like spaced repetition, right? So like these are the three key components that you need for rapid skill acquisition, but you also need to have ways that you can organize the learning materials and the contents to do this, right? We'll be talking about building in public. If you don't know what building in public is it's just this idea of like what I'm doing, right? Like I'm on Twitch right now. I'm building in the public of some project that I'm just interested in, and I'm just throwing content out there. Like you never know what can happen. That content can go onto YouTube. One person can watch it and they might get inspired to work on something, right? Or one person might watch it and they might be a hiring manager and they'll send me an email and say, we'd really like to hire you, right? Like you never know what the opportunities will happen with regards to building in public. And so that's how I got a lot of the opportunities that I've had. Like I'll write a blog and then someone will email me and say, I really like that blog. Like, can you come speak at this conference? Like those are the type of things that happen when you build in public, even for the most simple things like this. That's what I'm going to teach you, is like why that is a good concept. Accelerating your career. So we'll talk about a lot of the things that I think that you should do. Oh, actually I skipped over landing a job. I'm sorry. Landing a job. This is more or less going to be how to focus on everything professional. So, getting your LinkedIn profile, getting your GitHub profile, working on, resumes, cover letters, your actual GitHub portfolio of projects, like all that different type of stuff that I think will make a very meaningful impact to employers and make you look professional, so that you have a lot more leverage. So accelerating career is basically the same thing as landing a job, but on steroids, right? You already have that job. You want that pay raise. You want to become a lead. You want to have more responsibility. You want to start your own company. You want to build your own product, whatever it might be, right? We're going to be talking about a lot of those different types of things. So just kind of a heads up there. And last part is validating an app idea, right? So a lot of people, especially who have been coming to like TikToks and streams and things like that, they actually want to use coding to build something that they're really interested in. So these are more entrepreneur type people, or just people who have side project ideas. Like, hey, I want to build this app for this purpose and I want to sell it for $5, whatever it might be. So I'm going to teach you everything that I know with regards to how to validate ideas. Just for background, I am a technical product manager, so like this is my bread and butter when it comes down to like idea evaluation and like customer development, things like that. I'm going to teach you everything that I know with regards to how you can validate an idea before you even build it, and that's just going to help you save your time and also any money that you might have to expense for servers and costs and domains and all that type of stuff. So the idea is that you got to validate things before you even build it. It's like the number one rule of startups, right, is product market fit. So if you don't have product market fit, you're probably going to burn through cash and your startup's going to go under. So anyway, that's all that I have for today with regards to this stream. I just wanted to drop that down because this is progressing pretty nicely. A lot of this content is pretty much done. I just got to record the rest of it. And I just wanted to share that out with you because I know a lot of people are really excited about it. I haven't really sent much with regards to how you can get it and pre-order and stuff like that, but there's now this fancy landing page. It's been around for a little bit, but we'll be taking some, pre-orders and all that stuff later. So if you're interested in the whole idea of how to teach yourself or how to build these skills and all that other type of stuff, I think it will be a great offer, especially for people. I've been doing a lot of content out there for the last 2 years of all these different concepts, and they're all going to be kind of coming into one place, and I'm going to be expanding on the more professional side of things too. So, all right. Other than that, we're hit the 3-hour mark. We're at 3:03, and I just want to say thank you all so much, and take it easy. We will probably see you, I don't know, maybe Monday.